energy. Are you ready? We got some great topics today. I tell you, we got an exciting show. We got some amazing guests. So are you ready to know who your guests are? I got to have some energy. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Come on, Senior Elder Ella Bibbins. Come on, I want that energy. Destiny Burns. Come on. Pastor Diane Burns, come on. Give me some music. Let's bounce this house. Come on. Woo! Sheila Kennedy. Yes. Woo! Come on, give me that excitement. Yeah. Attorney Natasha Samuel. Come on. Woo! Yeah. Tamara Swift. Yeah. Come on, ladies. Hallelujah. We got excited today. Woo! Minister Tracy White. Woo! Great, great. Hallelujah. Come on, put those hands together. Put those hands together. You can have a seat. We're going to have a great show today. A great, great show. I'm excited to be in the house, even to host this. We got some lovely ladies. Aren't they beautiful? All right, let's get to know who our guests are today. Senior Elder Ella Bibbins. Lifelong resident of Pensacola, Florida. Graduate of Booker T. Washington High School. Graduate of Pensacola State College in nursing and has worked in the field of nursing for 45 plus years. She is married, a mother, and a great-grandmother. She is the director of medical ministry here at New Dimensions Christian Center and a member of the hospitality team. Senior Elder Ella Bibbins is always willing to serve whenever there is a need. Come on, give her a hand. Destiny Burns, senior, I'm putting you all the way up there. A sophomore in college. She is studying business management and minoring in piano. Mental health counseling and life coaching is also in her plans. She is passionate about creating a healthy mindset about growth and self-development. She states, your thoughts determine the direction of your life. Destiny Burns. Pastor Diane Burns, co-founder and co-pastor of New Dimensions Christian Center. She holds a bachelor's degree in social work, chief editor of her own magazine in which she birthed called Woman to Woman. And I was on Facebook, and I think that the 4th issue is about to come out. So you ladies are special because I don't know, she might have some here to sell. I don't know. So we'll find out. She faithfully oversees the Woman of Destiny ministry here at New Dimensions. Pastor Diane has a mission and an assignment to motivate and encourage people, especially women, to grow to develop into who God has called them to be and to never give up. Sheila Kennedy, born in Canton, Mississippi, oldest of 4 siblings. She now has lived in Pensacola, Florida for 28 years, wife, mother, and grandmother. Sheila is the owner of a successful jewelry business here in Pensacola. I'm living my best life, she says. But that's not all she wants to reveal to us today. Attorney Natasha Samuel, a legal aid attorney, primarily practicing in the area of family law in Panama City, Florida, practicing for 13 years. She views her job as a ministry that encourages, releases hope, love, and purpose to her clients who are survivors of domestic and sexual violence. Yes, she is an encourager, intercessor, and loves to praise God and spend time with family and friends. Tamara Swift, mother of two, Malachi and Aaliyah. When she's not navigating the hustle and bustle of life with her kids, she is checking up on the welfare of her parents and connecting with her sisters. Tamara states, throughout my life, I have sought to try many different interests and to broaden my perspective. But God uses these experiences to constantly shape and mold my life on his potter's wheel for his purposes. Tamara. Minister Tracy White's goal is to live righteously in this present age, fulfilling the purpose and calling of God's will for her life. We got it. Married for 33 years, mother of 8 and 9 grandchildren. Multiple gifts and talents flow out of her, from writing, dancing, to theater productions. Today, she's going to be talking to us about marriage. So we're going to start with you today. You didn't know that, did you? So, Miss Minister Tracy White, what does marriage mean to you?
Good morning, everybody. The question was, what does marriage mean to you? Let me put my glasses on.
What it means to you?
Hallelujah. Marriage, to me, is a holy union not to be taken lightly. Between a man and a woman who love one another and have committed themselves before God and man to enter into a covenant with one another to love, honor, and cherish, but submit to one another as they represent Christ, forsaking all others, leaving parents, start a life together as they start a family to death do them part. I will have many more to say, but I just have to keep it short.
So what does God say about marriage?
But God says in his word, Proverbs 18:22.
Can you see her, ladies? Because I can
y'all
move
hear
back.
me?
Can you hear her and can you see her? Better now? Okay.
Sorry about that. God says in Proverbs 18:22, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Also, Hebrews 13:4, marriage is honorable in all. The bed is undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge, and the Lord said that, not me. And I'm not going to read it all. At the end, if you want my notes, you can have copies of them, because I have a lot of scriptures, but I'm just going to keep it simple.
Well, you can give us another scripture.
Okay, well, it's pretty long, so.
It's all right. Give it to us.
1 Corinthians.
We married people need something.
1 Corinthians 7. Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is not good for a man to touch a woman. Nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Should I just keep it simple?
Okay, we're gonna keep it simple. Okay. Now, I see that you've been married 33 years.
Yes.
That's a long time, y'all.
Long time.
You know, I've been married 26 years. And, you know, it's been a long journey. So I'm just going to ask you a question because, you know, I always, you know, in marriage, I always ask myself these questions. Have you ever not liked your husband?
Well,
you know, because you go through those journeys, you know. You understand what I'm saying? You do go through certain things, you know.
Well, I'm going to read what I wrote.
Okay, what did you write?
I said, because we're wired different when you first marry, just like when you first got saved. Mm-hmm. You're on a cloud 9, and then you're on a honeymoon, in the honeymoon phase. Then after the honey's gone out of the moon, when the warfare starts, you begin to see each other in different and your other's differences. And then you have to, through the arguments and disagreements, that's the time you enter into the unlikable moments.
Wow.
And then, and I said, newsflash, these moments comes and goes. But you have to learn how to come together, to compromise, how to reach common ground. You never fall out of love, you just disagree and learn how to deal with each other, with each other. And because of feelings and emotions, and we being women are emotional beings, so we have to learn how to deal with those emotions and those phases in life, because when you're young, you're hyper, you got all this energy, then you turn 30, and then you have children you have to deal with. Then when you turn 40, you go through menopause, and they go through midlife crisis. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that determine those disagreements, but you have to learn how to deal with them through the Word of God.
That's great. And that, that kind of brings me over to you, Pastor Diane Burns, because we're talking about, women in life. And when she talks about we going through so many things. So, so what do you think that we as women, why we hurt? I mean, do you think we get it from our childhood or something that we have experienced in life? Why we hurt so much?
I think childhood is definitely a fact. I think we are like a product of our childhood in a way, because God puts us in families for a reason, but God cannot control what we go through. So sometimes we go through different trauma or divorce or separation. For example, I never met my father, and so I was raised by a single parent, and so that affects you if you don't deal with it. What you don't deal with just keeps growing. So whatever's in you, if you got rejection, if you got hurt, if you got loneliness, if you don't, what you don't identify, you cannot conquer. The problem is that we don't talk about this. That's why we're having this talk. Parents don't talk to kids and say, how are you doing? John is gone, Sue is gone, your dad is gone. Are you hurting? Are you in pain? Why are you acting out? Why are you so angry? Why are you mad with the world? You're mad with the world because you're in pain. And what you're doing, you're crying out for help. But as a child, we don't know how to deal with it. So what we don't deal with as a child, guess what? It comes with us as a teenager. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. It comes to us as a young adult. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. It stops when we get married. And it stops there when we are dating people, because we are still not dealing with unresolved hurt and pain. And so we have got to realize and say, you know what, when I was a child, this happened, or my family left me, or somebody might even say something to you. It's amazing. People can say, you know what, you'll never amount to anything, or you're not good enough. And for some reason, that will get cemented in people's mind, and they will take that one negative thing, and they will live it out for the rest of their life. Never allow a thought or a person to define who you are. You know, but when you're kids or you're young and you don't know that, we got to deal with it. And that's why so many women today are in so much pain, because they won't be honest and say, I am hurting. I was battered. I was abused. I was rejected. I've been lost. I've been raped. Whatever has happened to you, you need to come on out so we can get help. I'm mad with my husband, or my kids done abandoned me. I'm broke, I'm disgusted, I can't find a job, I have no skill, I have no future. I've given up on life because I think I am not good enough. We got to change that, because God said you are.
Now, that, this goes to me, tells me about this. What is self-esteem? I mean, can you kind of define that for
How you
us?
feel about yourself. How you feel about yourself. Not how others feel about you. How do you feel about you? That will determine your worth. You got to believe that you're okay. You got to believe that you're good. You got to believe that God didn't make trash or junk. What is wrong with us? God made you for a reason. There's something. You're a masterpiece, women. You are each one of you are a masterpiece. But you got to believe that. But if you don't believe that, the devil beats you up, and people beat you up because you're dependent. You become codependent on what people think about you. Don't worry about what people think about you. You will be set free if you change your attitude and say, God said, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am fearfully, wonderfully made. I am loved. Believe what God says about you, and not what people say about you, and not what the devil says about you.
Now, God has given us life. All of us have life. So how do we take what God has given us, you know, to be whole in Him and in life? How do we do that?
One thing God gave me one time when my son left, and I was just like, I felt like my whole world for some reason had just passed. I had 2 kids, but God showed me that my world had become my kids. My world had become my family. My world had become the church. But I had no life. I was lost. You know what God told me? Get up, get moving, get involved, get connected, because I want to take you somewhere. God called me out because I was so dependent on, I had become codependent on my family. My self-worth was in them and in the ministry that I didn't know who I was. I was lost. I was wandering. And so what I had to say, he said, you have got to grow. So I'm going to give you an example. This was me. This is how I looked. I had withered up. Now, I look good on the outside, and I try to look good. All us women, we put the makeup on. We try to work. We try to dress it up. Anybody know what I'm talking about? We being real. We try to dress it up. But this is on the inside. This is how I look. I had withered all the way up. And you know what? I couldn't even tell anybody. You can't even talk to people because people don't want you to be honest. They don't want you to be honest. They don't want you to be truthful. They want you to fake it. You know, they don't want you to say, hey, I'm having a bad day. Or, you know, I need prayer. Why don't I need prayer too? So this was me when that happened to me. I had to get the pastor. I was withered up because I had no life in me. So what I had to do, I had to get up. Why did I tell you women get up? I had to, pass me this book. I had to start developing myself. I had to start reading. You know what they say that if you don't do, they said readers are leaders. So I had to start leading myself again. Yeah, and I was over the women's ministry too. I was, you know, leading and doing everything I needed to do on the outside. But I had to do something. So what I do, so I had to get up and get moving, get involved. So I had to start to grow about. I had to say, God, what's your purpose and plan for me? I had to start watering. So what you don't water, this is how we look. So if you don't water yourself, women, this is you. I don't care how you look on Sunday morning and Wednesday night. I don't care how you dress it up. This is what's going on in the inside. You better learn to take care of yourself. You better learn to take care of yourself. I'm going to say it again, you better learn to take care of yourself or you're going to die prematurely, not only naturally, but spiritually. I'm going to finish in just 1 minute because I'm going somewhere with that one. Right. But I'm serious. You better take care of yourself. So I started exercising. Come on, I started using my brain. I redeveloped my magazine again. Can I get a loud amen? I'm about to do a book. Can I get a loud amen? I started doing the 5K and the 10K. I'm working on the half a marathon because God said, I want to take you somewhere. Can I get a loud amen? Okay, I'm about to do other things that God has told me to do. But I'm growing. This me now. This me now. Come on. This me now. Come on. This me now right now. Mm-hmm. That's where I am. Okay. This is me now. This is me now. It's not fake. It's real. This is me now. I want to show you when you don't have life, you're going to have death. Amen.
Wow. So that's something. That is something. So I know that we talked about self-esteem and we talked about being whole. So can you just give us maybe 1 or 2 scriptures or quotes we can say every morning to say, hey, this is what I want to be, and this is how I want to change my life. Because I want to live. I don't know about y'all, but I want to live. And if it takes me getting up in the morning and say, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth to get my day started. So what can you give us?
I can give you a few of them.
Maybe 1 or 2.
1 or 2. I'm going to be brief. I'm going to be brief with that. Life and death is in the tongue. Amen. Just watch what you say about yourself. Get up and say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And God is with me, and he'll never leave me or forsake me.
That's great. That's great. Now, Attorney Natasha Samuel, let's talk about these women and their careers, because now we know what we need to do is work on ourselves, that we are somebody. We can do this because you're a living example that we can do this. So how does one choose a career or find their path?
For some people, they already know what they like. I say, know what you like, what your likes and dislikes are. I knew that I was not very good at drawing, so I knew I did not want to become an artist. So for me, honestly, being an attorney first came a thought to me when I was a young child. I didn't always know, and I didn't have like a passion for it, but something happened to me, a traumatic thing happened to me when I was a child, but it always, I saw someone on TV as an attorney, and they were able to share their story with people. And so that always etched a memory in my mind. Okay, that's what I want to do. But as I grew older, it kind of faded. But then I remember when I was in high school, the thought came back, because I was trying to think, okay, honestly, I wanted to go into something that made money. I'll be honest with you. I said, I could be an accountant, but I said, we already have an accountant in the family, so what other profession makes money? An attorney. And so it was at that time when you have to also think about when you do enter into profession or career, what things are necessary to enter that field. So for me, being an attorney, I had to go to undergrad school, which is 4 years of college. I had to go to law school, which is 3 years of college. So knowing that is also a part of, if you already have an idea of what career you want to go into, knowing what education may be involved in that. So, and just getting back to being an attorney, it was kind of, for me, I didn't really know, and it kind of called me. I was still kind of wavering, even when I went to undergrad. I went to UCF, and we had to go and enroll in our classes. And at that time, I was still thinking, well, maybe I don't want to be an attorney. And so I said, I always liked history, so maybe I'll major in history. So when I went to enroll in my classes, they said, oh, we've already got you pre-enrolled. You're taking pre-law. I was like, oh, really? And so just a little tidbit, I was already pre-enrolled because I was also there for not only an academic scholarship, but a track scholarship. And so my track coach, they had already set all those.
We didn't know that
up.
about you,
Yeah.
that she was an athlete. We didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, so I ran track in high school, and I was blessed to get a track scholarship and an
Wow.
academic in college. So that was already pre-designed for me to enter that field. I didn't know that, after going to college and law school, I didn't have an idea of what type of law I wanted to go into, because it's very different fields. I thought of getting into medical malpractice because I knew that's where the money's at, and I always liked the medical side of stuff. But what ended up happening was I actually worked at the church for about a year and a half. Graduated from law school, didn't have a job, and I said, okay, I still got bills to pay. So, Mama, can I come on home for a little bit? And so ended up staying here about a year and a half, working at the daycare. And God just blessed me and opened the door for me to be able to work at legal services where I'm at today. And I didn't know that I was going to be practicing family law, which entails a lot of divorces, child custody cases, domestic violence injunctions, which are the restraining orders. Unfortunately, it's a lot of unpleasant stuff and, situations that a lot of my clients are in or coming out of, but it's an opportunity just to be able to encourage. I have a lot of lady clients who are coming out of that or facing it themselves, and just to let them know that God has a purpose and a plan for them.
Now, they say, it's a man's world. Only a man can do this. So how do we as women change that stereotype?
Know who you are, and I'll be honest, it's a process. I didn't always know who I am. I'm still learning who I am. And I always say, too, that your reputation and your name will go before you. So despite what people think about you, just know who you are in Christ. and honestly, in the field that I work in, it is male-dominated. The females, we are coming up and rising and everything, but you do see a lot of more men
Yeah.
in the attorney roles and the judges. I think we have a total of like 8 or 9 judges, and we only have 1 female judge. So you may not see yourself as another female, but I guess with the stereotypes, and honestly with my field, my career, even I don't get it so much from my colleagues. I get it from my clients. And I think what it is, they just see me as a female, and they see me as their friend, which it can be okay because I want to, just talk to them about their situation. But at the same time, I want that respect that my male counterpart, my coworker
Correct,
would get,
correct.
because they refer to him as, Mr. Coombs, but when they refer to me, they want to call me by my first name, Natasha. They call and talk to me, is Natasha there? And so it's one of those things where I have to just remind them, if you call for me, ask for Miss Samuels or Miss Natasha. So it's kind of also drawing that line and just letting them know,
Yeah.
There's a line that you shouldn't cross. I still want to have that. I want them to have that respect for me, and I
Correct.
respect them.
Yeah. So what are some resources that are in place to help us women, achieve our goals?
And I guess it just kind of depends on what stage you're in. If you know that you want to into college, there are scholarships out there. For example, my situation, I just briefly mentioned that I was blessed with an academic and track scholarship. And that was available to me when I was going to undergrad and when I went to law school. So my testimony is I was blessed to be able to go through 7 years of education without having to pay back any money.
Wow, that's
That
a
was all
blessing.
God.
That is a
That
blessing.
was all God. So that's definitely one thing. Everybody have your idea of what profession. There are scholarships out there. There are scholarships of, if you're left-handed. There's so many different
Wow.
scholarships. You just have to look for them.
It's money out there,
There's
guys.
money. Yeah, and people are willing to give it to you. You just have to, apply and find out.
Yeah, you got to have your mind, in that right place. And that gets me to talk to our youngest person on the panel. And she's going to talk about, you got to be in the right mind. And you got to have the right mindset. So can you tell us a little bit, what is a mindset?
My definition of a mindset is your thoughts. Your thoughts are so important. A couple of summers ago, I read a book called Think and Grow Rich, and there's two editions of it. There's one for African Americans, and that's the one I read all the time because I can identify with it. And in that book, he says your thoughts determine the direction of your life. And when I first started reading, I thought I don't really know how true this is. But the more you actually think about it, your thoughts determine who you are as a person. Your mind is who you are. Your thoughts, that comes into your actions, that comes into what you believe about yourself, that comes into how you present yourself. If you believe, I'm not good enough, it's gonna come out. You may think you can cover it up, but you can't because eventually it's gonna come out. So my definition of a mindset is, the thoughts you consistently think on a daily basis.
Okay, now, in today's world, they got these trends, and they got, social media, music, and all these influences because, we don't have the right, clothes on, or we ain't got it. Y'all know that, especially with your generation. So how does a young woman develop or create the right mindset?
Don't follow other people's trends. I don't follow other people's trends. I don't. I just made a decision. There's not another Destiny Sharon Burns. Okay, and I'm gonna make sure I'm known for me, not known for, not known for. There was a time in my life where I did want to follow trends, where I did want to be like the girls I went to school with, and that worked for a little bit, and then it backfired on me. Because if they decide, time changes, people change, if they decide we're not friends anymore, are you. Your whole life was in those people, and
Yes.
they're not who you are. So I made the decision as I got older. I don't follow trend. I love Instagram. I love it. I mean, Instagram is awesome because you can choose who you follow. You can choose um, what types of people you follow, and it's inspirational. I make sure I always follow people who are doing better than me. You know, I follow celebrities. I follow businesswomen. I follow um, positive things because if I log into my phone, I'm going to see positivity. I'm not going to see negativity. I'm not going to see, I want to be like that person. I'm going to see, develop yourself. You know, so I would say to young women out there, do not follow your own trend. You know, be known for you,
Right.
not known for she tries to be like them.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. So, do you think there's hope for your generation to change the world with the right mindset? Is this hope for your generation? Because sometimes, you know, I have teenagers and I have a older guy. Sometimes you just want to just like, what in the world are they doing? But sometimes we have to understand we used to be young too. But is it hope for your generation?
There is hope because I think with our generation, it's hard to understand because I think the what classifies this generation right now? Social media.
Correct.
But I think it can seem like all we care about is social media, and in a way it can get out of balance, or we connect differently. You know, it's a part of us now. All my schooling is on my phone or my computer.
Emojis
You
and
know.
all these things, because I'm still trying to learn everything myself. I try to keep up, y'all. I do try to keep up.
Unfortunately, it is fortunately, technology is a part of everyday life now. You know, like when I said, if I need to see my class grades, if I need to submit an assignment, I go online. So this generation, we're online. You know, that's where we find our influences, but so many people our age are doing so many things right. And I think if someone's not doing something right, I think you have to get to know that person. You have to say, don't just judge them. Oh, she's crazy. No, she's not. I mean, yes, she's crazy right now, but what happened to her? What happened to her to make her crazy?
Yes.
You know, where were you hurt? You know, where did you feel rejected? Where did you, like, once you deal with your inner work, then that can help you kind of, there's hope. You have to work on yourself. That's what I wish our generation could understand that just don't cover stuff up. Like, you know, come out with it. Come out with if you struggle with, I don't know, anxiety, if you struggle with feeling lonely, if you struggle with feeling rejection, talk about it. Because there's other people who feel that same way. But if you cover it up, that's what has a lot of the stereotypes about our generation, like, oh, they're just, you know, they just act out. But if you get to the root of the problem, I think that.
And I mean, I really like that because that's where we struggle and because we don't, like I heard the word transparency. We don't want to be transparent because we want people to like us, you know. So and it's really sad. But like you said, get with positive people. So what are some, things that can help, any kind of ways young people can find help today? Where can they find that help? Oh, hey, we got a young adult saying go to your parents. Y'all need to be clapping y'all hands. Parents.
The thing that honestly changed my life was when I decided to stop fighting my mom. You know,
It's all right.
It changed my life because I fought her for so long. You know, I think up until 9th grade, I fought my mom. You know, I didn't respect her. We didn't get along. We didn't, I thought, oh, she's just weird. You know, she doesn't get me. You know, you don't let me do this. You don't let me do that. And then I got to the place where I don't really know what happened. I just started listening. You know, I started realizing like she is for me.
Yeah.
You know, like where else am I going to find a good, reliable female role model? I have one in my own house. You know, I have a mom who cares about me. I have a mom.
That's right. Attorney Natasha, it's some tissue. Oh, that's right. She can get us some tissue.
I would say for young women, understand your moms. Like, they're people, you'll find your best friend. Some of the times where I was lost, I don't depend on people my age. Like, I love talking to older people because it helps me see where I need to go. Those times where I was confused, where I don't know I don't know if I'm going to succeed. I don't feel like I'm succeeding. I could talk to her. I have I don't know. Maybe not everybody is, listen to your parents. Just listen to them.
We understand what you're trying to say. Oh, wow, wow. And when it comes down to parenting, we're still trying to figure it out too. It doesn't matter how old we get. Because we ain't never been parenting. We ain't been through all situations. So we're still trying to figure it out. Now, being a single parent, Tamara, how do you maintain a perfect balance?
So there are 5 elements that I monitor in my household, but I'm not going to say that's perfect. I don't believe in there's anything perfect, but just to maintain a balance in our family. So I monitor our food, our clothing, shelter, my children's their physical health, and their emotional well-being. So when I talk to them, I'm looking and listening for any type of cues that there's an imbalance somewhere, and then I work to take care of it. And I normally pray for help for these needs to be met, but yeah.
Now, what is the hardest or easiest part about single parenting?
The hardest part, I just highlighted 2 main things because I don't want to make single parent it is just the most negative thing there is. It's just you're acting in the role of both mom and dad. So there were things I had to learn how to do. For example, I had to learn how to go outside and cut the lawn. I had to learn how to complete household repairs. So YouTube is my friend. As well as take care of what's going on inside the house. And then secondly is when you're raising opposite sex child. Despite what the world says about, children being able to choose who they want to be, the sex they want to be, and all this other stuff, opposite to the word, it's just, I didn't have any brothers. So with Malachi, I had to start reading and learning about how men think and how what they need to thrive, to grow into, because I want him to be a strong man. I don't want him to be a weak man or to be fearful, and I want him to fulfill his divine purpose. So I had to start educating myself.
So, how do we as parents, well, I'm not a single parent, but I'm just saying single parent, or you, we're talking about you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do you explain to your kids that there's going to be a change in their household?
I try to get out in front of it.
I mean, adjusting or healing.
Mm-hmm. And talk to them about any type of changes coming in our household. I sit down with them, and we talk honestly about any type of situation so they know that it's coming.
Transparency.
Mm-hmm. I always tell them that God has our back, no matter what, because I don't want them to be scared. Mm-hmm. And I gave them journals, so I encourage them to write about their feelings if they feel like they can't talk about it. That's something good. I used to do when I was young.
I never thought about that. That's good.
Well, when I was young, because me and my mom butt head a lot, so I used to keep a lot of journals and a lot of diaries to say what I couldn't say to her face. So I was just writing. So I was just writing down. And I've also taught them how to pray, so they know how to just talk to God when they're in their rooms if they feel like they can't talk to me. But one thing I left out, the easiest part about single parenting is I'm the boss. I make all the rules. I set the tone for the household. I make all the rules. I determine where we eat, where we go. I don't have to consult, a spouse right now, but in the future, praise the Lord, that will happen. That's the easy part. So.
Now, one thing you would like for us to know about single parent or motherhood, what do you want us to know?
That without divine strength from God and going to him and asking him for grace during that season, you're not going to make it. Because if you depend on yourself for the strength in order to accomplish everything you do for your family, you're going to end up becoming depleted. You're going to get filled with self-pity and everything. And then you start acting like a victim. Nobody's here to help me. I don't know what to do. Woe is me. But you just seek God, and he gives you everything you need to raise those children because he blessed you with those children.
That's great. Great, great, great. Now let's talk to Miss Sheila Kennedy. You know, she has her own business, you guys. So what inspired you to start a business?
Actually, this is the second business that my husband and I are owners of. Years ago, my husband, we invested in some big rig trucks, 18-wheelers.
Oh, okay.
And I was the quote unquote bookkeeper, person that kept up with all the paperwork and of course, running of the business and writing out the checks to the drivers if we had some at that time. So I was home, and that was easy. It only happened once a week on a Friday. And I would write out a check, I would pull paperwork and get invoices together and file them. So that was my job. And other than that, I would do the normal everyday, the cooking, the cleaning. At the time, I was taking my son back and forth to school, so I was a little bit bored. And I decided after, I would say, a 2-year stint of drinking every day, all day, that I needed God to move in my life to bless me with something of my own, something that would get me up in the morning and motivated to feel like I deserved my own business. The work that I was doing with my husband just didn't seem enough. However, I was allowed to stay home. We were doing really well. God has blessed us. I'm so grateful. But my actions, because I was bored, I turned to doing things that the enemy thought he was going to continue me to do. But God changed that. I prayed this year in May for Mother's Day. I hadn't been to church, and I knew some of the ladies in the church here at New Dimensions.
Wait a minute. You're telling us you
I
revealing
was
something
I
to
was
us?
an
What are you
alcoholic.
revealing to us?
I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm 162
Wow.
days sober today. Today.
Wow.
Yes.
She had a secret, y'all.
Yes.
She had a secret, and she's revealing something to us.
Praise God. God is good, y'all. And guess what? It wasn't a secret. I just wasn't telling anybody.
Well, it's a secret if you don't tell nobody.
And you know, some things you don't tell everybody.
Yeah, I know
But
that.
I'm going to tell you, I was working in my closet. God was doing his thing behind the scenes. And the enemy thought he had me. And for a minute, he thought he had me just where he wanted me. There were times when I was in the closet, had been drinking and praying. So I was on the battlefield. But God. Ooh, y'all. But God.
I know we're talking about business, but, you know, this addition thing that you just talked about. So how did it start? Was it depression, or was it, you know, something happened in your life, or, you know, a life crisis? How did you start that?
It came about some years ago, almost 10 years ago, actually. My mother passed away, and I didn't feel like I had the time to grieve because I was struggling in my marriage. And I explained that to my husband. I said, well, you know, I don't feel like you've given me a chance to grieve Mother's death because we're at each other's throats. So I was having issues with my mother passing away. I was mad at God. I have to be honest with you guys. I was questioning him why, you know, the mothers out there, why take my mother? So it started from there, just a little bit of drinking 2-3 times a week because I was working full-time in medical billing. But then, of course, my husband and I were going through some things, and it spiraled out of control. And then I went into a deep depression, and the depression got worse. It got so bad until I felt like I didn't deserve to have anything. I didn't deserve to even still exist. I woke up some mornings, oh, God, you still got me here? Wonder why. But God, this year, Mother's Day, y'all, I went in my garden. I sit in the garden in the rain. Mother's Day 2018, after church with my mother-in-law. Long story short, that relationship wasn't the best. Something got me up Sunday morning, Mother's Day, and I went to church with my in-laws and my mother-in-law. She said it made her day. She cried. She's like, she's so glad to see us. I got home. I had a little bit of wine on the countertop, And I got upset because my son had come over the evening before, and I was like, oh, my goodness, now they done drunk up all my wine. I ain't going to have none for the day. So I was like, okay, let me go out in the garden. Let me go pick some stuff. My husband was doing yard work, and I went out in the garden, and I had my hat on because it was a little overcast, but the sun was out. And I sit in the garden on the ground, and it started to mist and rain. And all this time, the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I had been in my closet praying and crying, slobbing, crying, snot running, crying and praying. Just everything was just, I was like, Lord, I know you got to move. I know you're going to move. And I know you haven't put me here for this. You have put me here for something way more than just drinking myself to death. Y'all, I went in that garden, I sat down and I cried. I picked some peppers. I went and got my squash. And the next thing I knew, I carried my veggies in the house. I went on the back porch, and I was a little perturbed because, I'm still thinking, well, there's no need of drinking that little shot of wine on the corner of that box because I'm going to want my husband to go out and get more. And in the garden, I prayed. And I said, God, I know who you are. I know whose I am. And I know what you can do for me. And I'm commanding you and demanding you today to heal me right now. Y'all, when I walked in my house, when I got off the back porch, walked in the house, I haven't had a drink since. I don't even know why to right now. I don't want it.
Sounds like an instant miracle that God delivered you.
Not only did he do what he does, he heals. He heals in the blinking of an eye. 3 days later, I was blessed to have my own business. My husband said, baby, if you want this business, it's going to be up to you to do it. And I have been praying for God to give me something to do. So hear me clearly. We have to align ourselves with the word. We have to align ourselves with the God that we know he is. And anything that your heart desires, God will do it for you because he did it for me. And I can't even look back and say how. And really, I don't care. All I want to know is, I want you to know is that God will do what he said he'll do.
So what is the name of your business?
I'm an independent consultant with Paparazzi Jewelries and Accessories, but my title for my business is Jewels by Sheila. And I wanted you ladies to know, for those that got up and decided to come in and take a look or come in and listen to the nuggets that we're dropping into your lives here on the talk show today, that everybody, there's a certain case I'll be sharing with you guys, but everybody in attendance will get a free piece of jewelry today.
Whoa. And I just want to let you know that this piece that I have on, earrings,
Jewels by Sheila.
So go support her.
I think God has blessed me to be a blessing, and I'm grateful, so grateful, because it was a time when I felt like he had forgotten about me. And I knew better, but the enemy will definitely get in your mindset, back to what Destiny was saying. You have to have your mind right. And you can pray for a healing in your mind. God heals any and everything. There is nothing too hard for God.
Amen. Now, how long you been sober?
I've been 162 days sober today.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at the timing. She revealed.
And when I revealed it to some of the ladies in the church several months ago, one of the ladies in the church said, oh, you look so good. I didn't know. Well, what does being an alcoholic look like? There is no look. I mean, I could be speaking to someone in the audience that has an addiction. And addiction doesn't necessarily mean addicted to a certain substance. You can be addicted to food. You can be addicted to sex, out of place. You can be addicted to anything, because God says anything in excess is not good for us. But he wants us to enjoy everything in moderation. So, y'all, I'm on fire. Y'all just don't know. I mean, I've been there, done that. But when the enemy tried to come in, and he had me rocking and reeling for a minute. But when God steps in and put his foot down, y'all, all right now.
Amen. As we know, this is Cancer Awareness Month. Come on, yeah, give her a hand.
Thank you.
Like I said, once we know that this is Cancer Awareness Month, and we just want Senior Elder Ella Bivens to just, give us a brief testimony of how God healed you from cancer.
Good morning, ladies. First first thing I want to tell you is that
Put the mic up to
I'm
you.
talking about the big C. But don't believe anything.
It's on. She just need to put it to her mouth.
I'm talking about the big C. And you know, our God is bigger than the big C. All things are possible through him. Back to Stephanie's question. In 1996, I was
Yeah, there you go.
I was diagnosed with colon cancer. When the doctor first told me about the colon cancer, it was like, okay, I got cancer. So he came in. I had symptoms really not related to colon cancer, I thought. Being a nurse, you know, we try to treat ourselves and do stuff. But for about a month, I was having problems with my bowels. Just whenever I ate, I had to go to the restroom. You know, that's not related to cancer, I thought. But over a period of time, I had to have the colonoscopy done. So working in the hospital, I know that once you go in and get the colonoscopy done, usually the nurse will come and get you, and, you know, when you wake up, and she'll tell you, you know, you're okay, put your clothes on, you're going to go home. That didn't happen to me. She looked around and she says, Miss Bivens, are you awake? I said, yes, ma'am. Being in the hospital, I knew what was coming next. I'm going to go get the doctor. Here comes the doctor, along with one of my sister-in-laws and a friend of mine. My cousin worked in the GI Center, so here they come. The two of them was kind of weeping a little bit, you know. And I'm like, okay, now, if you guys can't pray, go get me some praying folks. You know, so the doctor and I, we talked, and he told me, he said, what do you want to hear, the good news or the bad news? I looked at him, I said, it doesn't really matter, because I know what the outcome is going to be. And he looked at me kind of strange, you know, didn't say too much after that. And we decided that we went through the process of telling me what needed to be done. And we decided who we was going to get to do the surgery and everything. And my reply to him was, this cancer does not belong to me. Let's take it out and give it back to the devil. And that's what we did. When the surgeon came to talk to me, he was telling me about all the things that was going to happen, all the tubes I was going to have in when I came out of surgery. Don't be scared. You're going to have a tube here and a tube there and this, that. That didn't happen to me. Wow. I came out of surgery, and I had a CVP line. If you don't know what that is, it's a little needle that they put in your chest for pain, and I had a Foley catheter. So when I got out, and I hadn't been out of surgery no more than about 8 hours, I'm walking down the hall, and the nurse said, Ella, where you going? I'm going to the bathroom. Well, you have a bathroom in your room. Go back to your room. So I goes back to my room, and I tell him, I said, you need to tell him to come and take this tube out of my chest, because I don't need it. So they called him, and they did. They took the pain tube out. I was fine. But in the process of all of that going on, to this day, it was like I didn't have cancer because I didn't have the usual symptoms. I wasn't sick. I went to work every day up until the day that they found, the day that I went to the emergency room for my arm, I thought. And Dr. Delana Rosa, she knew me pretty good. I worked with all these doctors. And she said, oh, there's something else going on with you. I can see it in your eyes. And she the one decided to do the rectal exam. And she the one found the blood in my stool. And she the one sent me to the hospital. And they did the colonoscopy that evening. That next morning, I went to surgery. And I thank God I have been cancer-free for 22 years.
Wow. Wow. Now, can you give us your definition of healing in your own words?
Webster defined healing as being a cure. Ella defined healing as being God's restoration. When when God restore a person, he restore the whole man, body, soul, and mind. We can have illnesses and diseases and be cured, but when God does it, like I say, he does it in a big way, bigger than anything you can think or imagine. We can also have problems, not just, we need healing in other areas of our life also. Business, relationships, finances, and only God has that power. He gives us the wisdom to heal. So my definition is God's restoration.
So God healed you. So what does faith mean to you? And then, did you ever lose hope?
Faith to me, according to Hebrew 11:1, it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. So when you know that you know, when you know that you know, and you know God, and you know his word, then there's no reason. You know, you have the faith. You just have to exercise that faith. You have to, on God's word, lean on God's word. Remind him of his promises, because you know his promises. Remind him of his promises. That's what he wants us to do. He wants us to remind him of his promise. He want to know that we know. He want to know that we know. And when we know that we know, he'll do it. He'll do it. You just have to tell him. He said he'll never leave us nor forsake us. And that's what he means. He's not a man that he should change his mind. He's not a man that he should change his mind. He will do what he said he would do. He will do it.
Did you lose hope, though?
With a God like that, doing what he said he can do, how can you lose hope? He is hope. When you got him, you got hope. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope.
So how can you help us understand about this disease and early detection?
A lot of people, and even if it's not you, you know somebody in your family, somebody in your neighborhood, you know people with cancer. It's rapid. It's touching everybody, the old and the young, you know. And a lot of people with breast cancer, that's the biggest thing around now, but there's so many other cancers in the world. You know, you can have cancer in any part of your body, you know. So early detection is you should have your annual physicals. Ladies, know your body. Men, know your body. Do self-examinations on your breast. No matter how small or how large, or a minor change or major change, get checked out. Go to your doctor. Have your exams done. With colon cancer, it's a little bit different. Colon cancer is a ulcerated colitis, which is you can develop ulcers or polyps or something that really deteriorates and causes you to get that infection. And it's symptoms. You can have minute symptoms like I did. You know, you eat, it runs through. That's all I had. That was it. That's the only symptom I had. But you can also, you can have symptoms like, let me see. I'm reading my notes now. Excuse me. Okay. You can have symptoms like a blood in your stool. That's the major one for colon cancer now. You can have a partial obstruction, and that causes constipation alternating with the diarrhea. You can have abdominal cramps, pain, even shortness of breath. You can be short of breath and don't know why. You have to go through the test, find out what's causing all these different things. A high incidence of colon cancer occurs in people over the age of 50. That wasn't my case. I was in my early 40s. You know, so it could be. But you have to, like, again, know your body. And don't wait. Most people, the survivors of cancer, people that had early detection, you know, you can't fool around and wait. I waited a month. When I got to the doctor, he said it was just starting to eat through the lining of my colon. Had I waited any longer, I mean, you know, it might have been different. I might have been worse. So have yourself checked. You start doing your colonoscopy at the age of 50. They recommend that you do it at the age of 50. But if you have anything, any kind of abdominal discomfort, and you're not 50, check it out. Just go check it out. Digital rectal exams, that's another way they find it. Because you can have polyps, which will get inflamed. And that's another cause of cancer. You have polyps, they get inflamed, and it goes into cancer. But like I said, the colonoscopy is the best thing that you can have done. And you get that done once a year. They recommend at the age of 50. But like I said, if you have any symptoms at all, do it before then. And check your stools. You can pass blood in the stool and not know it because you don't always see blood in your stool. But when you're having stools like that and you suspect there's something in it, go to the doctor and let them culture your stool. Because that's the only way you're going to find it, if they culture your stool. Okay?
Amen. Know your body.
Know your body.
Know your body. Didn't we have a great show today? Now, you, as the audience, if you have any questions to ask anybody on this panel, now is the time. Somebody wanted to ask? I can use my mic. Any questions? So everybody know and we'll praise the Lord. Oh, okay.
Ms. Bivens, I enjoyed what you were saying. Some of the symptoms that you stated, such as a blockage of your stool, and then followed by diarrhea, and then also with the abdominal cramps. Is that something that you could say is continuous, or is it maybe just something that happens like once you feel it, and then you don't, and then you maybe it comes back a month or two later, or is it just something that you found that was like continuous?
Like I said, it's that I didn't have any of those symptoms. You know, I didn't have that. That's just part of other people's history. But yes, and then it could be other things too. That's why you have to know your body, and that's why you have to get examined by a physician. Because a person that's having like diverticulitis, they will have diarrhea followed by, constipation too. So it's, you can have the same symptoms for different things. That's why you have to go and be checked out. A lot of people don't go to the doctor because they don't want to. They're afraid of the doctor. They're afraid of what he's going to say, the information he's going to give you. But that's the only way you're going to be sure, because a lot of things in your body, in the digestive system, that could be causing the same symptoms. It don't necessarily have to be cancer, but that's one of the symptoms of cancer, colon cancer.
Thank you.
All right. I just would like to say this too. My husband and I were on a vacation for our anniversary, and we noticed that he had a knot in his neck, and he'd never seen that before. So he went to have it checked out and found out he had cancer of the tonsils. So it could be a form of a lump on your neck or something like that. So just beware of your whole entire body, changes in your entire body. But he's cancer-free. He went through some therapy and treatment with chemo and radiation, and he never missed a day of work. He never missed a day of church. He came every Sunday, and he went through some hard times, but God brought him through. Yeah. And we just praise him for that.
I don't have a question. It's more like kind of a testimony because my mom, she passed away about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. But she had ovarian, and the way God had blessed through the situation because he revealed it. She bled out, and some stuff was coming out of her, and then she took her to the doctor, and they found out it was cancer. Now, you know what ovarian is very aggressive. So she just gave God praise. She said God revealed that cancer by the way he did it. And so he gave her an extra, she fought it for like a little bit over 4 years. But I was telling everybody it was a blessing that because God was giving us time to get ready for her to go. So, you know, even through, like she was saying, nothing came up. It just, she's bled out one day and then, you know, stuff came out and God revealed it. But it was a blessing in it, and my mom gave that testimony. And I thank God every day that he gave us that extra time with her. So that was God working in the midst of that, of her cancer. I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Amen. Any more questions for our panel? Okay.
I didn't know this lady. She's my sister all the time, so thank you for that.
Oh.
And not only her, I have some other stuff to say, so can I have this just a half a second?
Got a half a second.
Okay, and I will try to condense it down, because everybody tells me I'm like my dad. He'll start talking, and they'll say, Daddy, we want the short version and not the long version, so I'll try to do that. But I just want to thank you guys for doing this. I don't live here. I lived here, but, you know, I don't reside in Pensacola. But I'm staying with my sister under the guise of being with her because she, you know, what she's been through. And like everybody has been asking me for weeks, so you're still here? And I'm like, when are you leaving? Well, I'll probably be leaving. And here I still stand. And today I'm standing because there's another death that I have to attend. But, you know, like everybody say, but God, he knows what Gerald did. He knows me, and he knows what I need. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for being a host. Thank you, sister. I call her sister. She's my sister, so we don't use her given name. She's my sister in so many things, and ask her what I called her. It's a whole list of stuff. But anyway, and they're all good, and they're all true. But I'm over to her house, and she has been like, okay, I'm supposed to be here to comfort her. Y'all, she has been comforting me, and thank you that she goes to Pastor or wherever he is. But anyway, Pastor Burns, Diane Burns, please tell him thank you for this ministry. Thank you for being here. But you all have pretty much, well, really, I'm not a single mother. I'm not an alcoholic, but I could have been. But God, I could have been everything that I'm not. But thank the Lord, God has seen fit. And thank you that you have covered so many things that I needed to hear. I mean, you were saying something, but the Lord was saying something else in my spirit, and it's really been ministering. So thank you all for doing this. Thank you for my being here, Lord. Yes. Thank you for meeting me in Pensacola. And I appreciate each one of you. Love you all.
Minister Tracy White, Sheila Kennedy, Senior Elder Ella Bibbins, Tamara Swift, Attorney Natasha Samuel, Destiny Burns, Pastor Diane Burns. Come on, give it up. Come on, give it up for these ladies. Until we see you next time, my name is Stephanie. Women in Action Talk Show. Woo! Come on. Put your hands together. Thank you for coming.